Hang on, just outside of the show, are you wearing a name tag?
Oh, I went to thanks for telling me. I went to the allergist today. I got allergy shots.
And so they have to.
They get no, it's
give
not
you
a name tag. It's like
for that. Oh yes! Oh God! Yes! Welcome back. Is it still good? The show with two grown-up film students who hate growing up. In case you're just joining us for the first time, this is the show where we take our rose-colored glasses, we perform a conscious uncoupling with them, and it's through the fresh set of eyes that we look back upon the culture of our youth. I'm Bear Kennedy in Chicago. Joining me today, as always,
Andrew Carter in Los Angeles, like that conscious uncoupling reference. Today we have an extremely special guest, dear friend Taylor Turner, because we are discussing Coldplay's Parachutes. Taylor and I have a deep history with Coldplay. First of all, Taylor, where are you? Because your background is the best Zoom background I think I've ever seen.
It's a real background. I'm in Lake Tahoe, California.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm just among nature, trying to rediscover what's important in life throughout these trying times, really.
Among the Corleone family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Fredo's out there on the boat. Yeah. We found him earlier. Yeah. Wait, how long have you been there, and how long are you going to be there?
I'm here for the month. So we got here just before Labor Day, and we're here through the beginning of October.
And who's we?
That's me, Brett, our friend.
I don't care. Who's Brett?
Oh, just this guy. No. I just saw him on the street on my way. It's my boyfriend. He's sitting over there. He's probably really annoyed right now.
Oh, nice.
I
would love it if you turned your computer towards him and he actually was like sitting there like
fuming.
Yeah, just steaming smoke.
I wanted to talk about parachutes.
Yeah.
He's not jealous about that, trust me. And then the young Miss Denise Yee is also here with us.
Oh my God. Say hi to Denise for us.
I will, yeah.
And then, wait, where in Lake Tahoe exactly are you?
We're on the West Shore, like near Tahoe City.
Okay, yeah. I've been there once. I went there for a wedding. It was awesome.
Yeah. Do you know where you were? What part of the lake?
I think it actually was near Tahoe City too, because I feel like I remember passing either through it or like signs that said Tahoe City right this way, and so we were very close. I forget the name of the hotel. I was someone's date, and it's actually kind of funny because she's just, it was like just a going with a friend, and
but you still had sex, but
no,
it was just friendly.
No,
a wonderful place.
No,
very
seriously,
romantic.
trust me, no. But like we got there and like, we checked in the room. We're having, seeing all the people at the wedding. We go to the ceremony, and then we go and take our seats, and she goes to me, "Oh, I totally forgot. My ex is a best man. Like, I totally forgot." And I was like, "You forgot?
Really
No, that's exactly why you brought me. like you didn't forget at all. Like, that is the reason that you brought a date. Like, you would have taken Brett off the street like Taylor did."
You'd be a great date.
No, it was a great time, and she's awesome. She's a good friend, but like, it was just, that was just really funny how she was like, "Oh, by the way, I totally forgot." And I was just like, "It's fine. Like, like, you don't have to say you forgot." Like,
Yes.
But anyway, speaking of breakups and all that, Coldplay is, they're known for their breakup music. I don't know when I first realized it, but honestly, it was probably later than I would like to admit, that it kind of hit me one day like, oh, Coldplay writes love songs. That's it. And I think because I first heard them when I was 12, I didn't really know. I was just like, yeah, like, I like them. But Taylor, what's your earliest memory of hearing, I guess Coldplay, but specifically Parachutes, because it was their first album?
Oh God, I'm not even sure with Parachutes, to be honest with you. I feel like it's one that like I just started to like absorb once I got really into them. My like first memory of the band, this is super embarrassing, but they made a live action Peter Pan movie when we were in high school.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
Wait a second. Let's dive in. Live action Peter Pan. You mean like not Finding Neverland? Like this was
No,
just
not Finding
the
Neverland.
tale
Was
of the
like,
boy who didn't grow up or
yeah,
whatever.
the young
Yeah.
lad. Jeremy Sumter played
Yeah,
Peter
that's
Pan.
who it was.
Yeah. And he like took off for like a hot second, but I think he and Zac Efron were like too much alike, and so one of them had to come out on top, and it was Zac.
Oh God, that's
There wasn't
brutal.
space for both.
Who plays Captain Hook?
Jason Isaacs, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But I think I know what you're gonna say about why Coldplay is related to that.
But clocks. Anyway. Yeah, they play clocks in it. So my friend and I went down and like deep dive into clocks specifically, and I danced in high school, so we tried to like choreograph dances to clocks and get it into like our semester show. Like it was pretty embarrassing how obsessed with clocks we were. And then towards the end of high school, I just got into them like in general. And then I think like when we met Carter, Viva la Vida came out.
Yeah.
And so that was like what sealed the deal for me. And then I went like deep into the backlogs.
And honestly, like everyone at Chapman, it's like for the most part, a decent amount of like our group of friends they liked Coldplay. Like I remember when we went and saw them, it was like, 16 of us or something, because people were like, oh yeah, I like them. Like O'Leary was into them and whatever.
Yeah, still okay.
I always have felt, I think we talked about this at my wedding. I was just like, I've always felt the kinship with you with Coldplay. Taylor's been the only one who just like, whose eyes light up when Coldplay comes up. And that's exactly what my experience has been with them. But
I think I realized how into them you were. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but on the way to the concert, it was at the Honda Center Bear, so it's not far. Like
that's like 7 minutes. Yeah.
So Carter was able to squeeze in a very memorable moment in a 7-minute drive. We're going down, whatever that busy street is. He rolls the window down, sticks his head out, and he yells, "I want to get a rush of blood to the head." Do you remember that?
Oh my God, no. That is so humiliating.
That's the most soy shit I've ever heard. Jesus.
Screamed it from the top of his lungs. I was like,
just in the moment, just feeling it. Oh.
But was it ironic?
No, there's no way you said that ironically.
Man.
You legitimately wanted that.
That feels like something I would say like under the guise of irony, but not ironic at all.
No,
but it's not
I don't think it was
ironic
ironic.
Yeah, it probably wasn't. I remember, because I remember when we went and saw them, I remember around the same time. It's funny, I don't remember putting my head out the window and screaming that, but there was a time, I think it was right when we got back for sophomore year of college, but I remember sticking my head out of a moving car and doing the Joker, Heath Ledger, Dark Knight thing. So I don't know why I remember that one and not the Coldplay one, but for whatever reason.
Yeah, I was like, he's the real deal. He really.
Was Clocks the first song by them that you heard?
I don't even know. It's the first one that I like really stuck out.
Okay.
Or that I was obsessed with, I guess I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a huge hit. I feel like their catalog has gotten so big, people forget that they wrote that one too.
Yeah, totally.
Which is weird, but it's like, it's just, again, they've written so many hits. But Bear, what about you? What was your first experience with them?
I remember hearing Yellow on the radio here in Chicago on Q101 and thinking, well, I'll never have to hear that horrible song ever again. And I was fucking wrong. So I remember that. I remember, listening to Loveline every night as a kid.
Oh, Dr. Drew?
Yeah, and this is the old one. So
wait, you listened to Loveline as a kid?
Oh, I listened to Loveline.
What were you going through?
Dude, I was a every night Loveline listener from like 2000 till college, like 2006 or so.
Wow. Is it because you had a beard at age 11?
No, it's just because I listened. Yeah. Hey, is this normal, guys? Like, I've got plenty of hair.
Yeah, you called in every,
I'm 11
called in
and
every
I'm
night.
Horny. Yeah.
Yeah. Every night trying to be someone else.
Yeah, just trying to get some guidance, just some direction in life.
But it's the same issue.
Yeah. No, it was on. The only reason I was listening to Loveline is because it was on the same radio station. They used to broadcast it on Q101 every night, and that was like, before streaming and Spotify and everything, there wasn't a ton of ways to find out about new music. So especially when I was like 12, was like, all right, found the radio station just happened to be listening to it at 10 o'clock, it switches to Loveline. And then I was just on that grind for many, many years. So they, at one point, I think in like 2004 or so, they used to play Clocks as the intro coming back from their last segment, just to sign off real quick. So I remember that was on a lot. And I don't think I've listened to Coldplay on purpose until this past little bit when we've been listening to Parachutes in anticipation of this show.
What about like The Scientist? You had to have heard that.
I have no idea. Is that how does that song go?
Dude, that's a classic.
Is it about science?
It's on A Rush of Blood to the Head.
And he sings like, "Oh, the science man is here to make me sad."
No.
All right, that's what I would imagine it would be if
it's about spoiler alert, a breakup, and the chorus is nobody said it was easy.
Okay, I do know that song. Yeah. It's also terrible.
Oh, God damn it. What's so funny about this is that Bear's going, they're terrible. We still haven't gotten to the best part that's going to make Bear shit himself. You might already know this, though, but Coldplay is my favorite band, and they've been my favorite band.
Unimaginable. I mean, like, especially, like I just said, like, I get it. Look, before technology took off, you were kind of just at the whims of whatever was on the radio. Maybe you didn't get exposed to things that were good. But now, like, you can experience anything you want musically relatively easily, and this is what you've landed on, which is
they're fantastic. They're fantastic.
They are fantastic is not a way I would describe this band.
Oh God.
In fact, my favorite description I found of them when they came out, I believe this was in The Guardian. They were described as music to wet your bed to. Which
I've heard that one.
Accurate. Yeah.
I was surprised you didn't give me the 2005 New York Times profile that called them the most insufferable band of the decade.
They are, but they get a lot of mileage out of people hating them, and yet everybody likes them. So I don't buy that.
Tours. Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They're a stadium tour band. They're in the same fucking level as like U2.
Yeah, give me a fucking break.
Like you pull it up on Spotify, they have millions and millions of hits.
Yeah.
As far as people listening to it, and yet they're still positioned as this band that people don't like. Get the fuck out of here. Like
people love to hate them.
Most people
that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is, Taylor. You nailed it. It's not
I don't love to hate them. I just find their music bad.
Yeah, like it's one thing to like just be like, hey, that music's not for me. I don't like it. But like but what I think more people do is like, oh, fucking Coldplay, oh fine.
Yeah. And then I guess they do that, and then they listen to it on loop constantly.
Well, that's what happened to me a little bit when I first discovered them. It actually was Yellow, and it was weird. That was around because that was when they made landfall in the States. Parachutes had been out for a few months in the UK. It came out in July of 2000, so it's officially 20 years old. In the States, it didn't come out till November, but I remember watching MTV, and Yellow, the music video, was the first time I ever heard Coldplay. And I just remember thinking, who's this weirdo who's soaking wet walking on a beach? Because that's the music video. And it was my first experience with cognitive dissonance, which I didn't know that term, obviously. But the reason I say that is because in the fall of 2000, I had just turned 12, and I was like really into Limp Bizkit and Korn and like anything with a parental advisory sticker. That was my shit. And it didn't matter what it was. If I saw a parental advisory sticker, I was like, what is it? I need to have it. Which was just ridiculous because it's like, I basically was in my like, fuck you, dad, in my, in that phase of my life. But Coldplay comes on, Yellow, and I remember thinking it was good. But then I remember thinking, I can't like this. This shit, no, this shit's not, it's not hard. Like it doesn't rock. No. But I would always hear it. It was ubiquitous. And I remember being very enamored with it, but it wasn't until later that I think really started to love them, and we'll get into that. But Yellow was the first time I heard them, and I remember I think at a certain point, maybe in 7th grade, which was I guess a year after Parachutes came out, I remember having the album and like the actual CD, and I might have went and got it at like Sam Goody or something. But there came a time before they got really huge and people started loving to hate them. There came a time when they became pretty cool. pretty early on. Like Coldplay, oh, this band's sick. Check them out.
Yeah.
And so that turned into when I stopped obsessing over Parental Advisory. It's interesting that this band led me more to Coldplay, but it was Led Zeppelin because my dad, when I turned 13, I think they were finally like, all right, we give up. You can get Parental Advisory CDs. And so I think for my birthday that year, I got Blink-182's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. And I was like, finally, my first ever Parental Advisory CD, like unedited. This is great. And my dad was like, before you listen to that, you need to listen to this. And he gave me Led Zeppelin 3.
When it's time to make
like,
out, play side 2 of Led Zeppelin 4.
Yeah. And when it comes down to making out. Yeah. So he gave me that. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? And then I put it on. And of course, the first song is Immigrant Song. And I was just blown away. And Zeppelin was, I think, again, Coldplay is still my favorite. I have to be honest with myself. But Zeppelin they're almost tied. But it's interesting because I think because of my introduction to Zeppelin and how it was like, oh, there is other music out there than stuff that doesn't have 4-letter words in it or whatever.
Yeah.
It led me to see like, oh, there are other bands that are very worth listening to. And also that British bands are just awesome because Zeppelin, The Who, The Stones, I mean, come on, the list goes on and on.
And we've talked about this before, but when you're a kid, like things being illicit make them more appealing to you. So
yes.
Yeah, no one now can listen to Led Zeppelin Limp Bizkit and think like, oh, this is good. But at the time, like if you couldn't get your hands on it, you're like, holy shit, I gotta hear them do all the swears on this album.
Yeah.
So
I'm
sick.
like still afraid of parental advisory stickers, honestly.
That's amazing.
What do you mean afraid?
Like if you're on Spotify and there's like the E for explicit next to it, I'm like,
Oh,
yeah.
God. Taylor's like a concerned mom. Has her sunglasses on, her friends on. Let me see that. No, we're not.
Read the lyrics first.
Yep.
Yeah, we're not putting that on in my car. Yeah. But it's funny. You know who does like Limp Bizkit? Lead singer of Coldplay, Chris Martin.
He unironically likes Limp Bizkit.
Unironically. No, he didn't tell me. I read in an interview when it came time to make Viva la Vida, the album before that was X and Y, and that was a really big album, but a lot of people, I guess, it's funny because looking back, it got pretty decent reviews, but a lot of people were also like, this is overly long and it's just, it's pretty much one level at the same time. There aren't many songs that build except for, Fix You and a couple others, but and they obviously like wanted, and he said in interviews, we were bigger than we were good, and we were really hungry to get better. And so they worked with Brian Eno, and Brian Eno introduced them to like, a bunch of different music and basically said, just listen to whatever you want as long as it has life in it. And Chris really, I guess, started listening to Coldplay, and he liked Rollin'. Or sorry, he started listening to Limp Bizkit, and his favorite one was Rollin'. And I remember
his favorite one was Rollin'.
Dude, that's a great song. And
that song
I still
sucks. That song's like a joke of itself. Are you shitting me?
I still love Bizkit, man. Come on,
I still listen to an unironically large amount of metal, and the only Limp Bizkit song that I think holds up, which I guess now we're gonna have to do Significant Other and maybe even Chocolate Starfish on the show. But Rearranged is the only song I think is
I was going to say Rearranged is so good.
That song's kind of like actually good, like to where it's kind of weird, like how good it is.
I know what you mean, but also like, I don't know, when you're mad, break stuff, that does help. I will say.
That song it's so cheesy. It's so dumb.
Oh, it's cheesy and it's obvious lyrics. There's nothing subtle about it at all, but that's not the point. The point is like, you want to break stuff, so what are you going to sing about? Like the subtext.
I'm well aware that the point of that song is you're going to break stuff. Like they got that message over. Yeah.
Wait, Adam,
I don't think you did.
Will you sing a little bit of Rollin' for me? Is it like Rollin', like rolling with no G? Or?
I believe there was no G. I think there was an apostrophe, right?
Okay.
It was the first verse is I know it, trust me.
Verse.
Now I know y'all be loving this shit right here. Limp Bizkit is right here. People in them house, put them hands in the air. Cause if you don't care, then we don't care. 1, 2, 3 times 2 to the 6. Jolting for the pics of that Limp Bizkit mix. So where the fuck you at, punk? Shut the fuck up and back the fuck up while we fuck this track up. And then
that's awful.
My dog
I hate
is barking.
that you know this.
He hates Limp Bizkit too. But then the The chorus is it's
We're
like
rolling,
the dumbest chorus of all time.
rolling. Come on,
Yeah, that's it.
rolling. Yeah, that's like the
Oh,
whole
wow.
song. Yeah,
How many Grammys
Yeah.
did that win?
probably a lot.
Yeah.
Imagine if they swept
Oh.
that year. They swept. Fred Durst is
You know
like,
what?
man,
They
we
were
weren't expecting.
everywhere, and like that, they had a song on the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack that was, I don't know if it was good, but that song got played every 5 fucking minutes on the
Yeah, it
radio,
did.
and I'm actually surprised that I wasn't so burned out by that I wasn't more into Coldplay, because it is kind of the opposite music.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're complete opposites.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
like
I would imagine.
and I think Coldplay's done some songs for movies, like, but I
Peter
remember
Pan.
like,
Well, Peter
yeah,
Pan
well,
for sure. I
but
believe
it's
Don't
like,
Panic is in Garden State.
Oh, you know
yeah,
what?
but
Sparks is in. Oh, you mean like wrote a song for a movie?
I mean, yeah, wrote a song
Okay.
specifically, but yeah, but yeah, Sparks is in. What were you gonna say?
Wedding Crashers.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I just rewatched that recently, and it's it's when they go looking for each other.
I don't like that song for that scene. I don't know.
Wow, let them
something about
know.
it
Get
bugs
them.
I liked it because it was Coldplay, but
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, you didn't. You know what's the worst use of one of their songs is in a movie called You, Me, and Dupree with Owen
Mhm.
Wilson and Matt Dillon and Kate
Mhm.
Hudson. When Matt Dillon goes to try and win Kate Hudson back, they're playing Fix You. And I have a very strong theory about Fix You being used and stuff because it's one of my favorite songs ever. And like, that song is so good and it's so epic and it builds the entire thing. You can't just cut into it
Yeah.
or cut out of it, and you can't use it unless it's number one, unless it's complete. And you have to use it in something that I guess requires it. So again, my theory is just don't use that song and stuff.
Is he like? I picture him running. Is he like running and they get to the really like big part of the song?
Yeah, but it's like, but they don't. But
No,
it's
I'm not justifying it.
No, I know, but they do. You're right, but it's not used well because it's
Yeah.
just that part is so, again, it's so big and epic, and you want to just release, and they
Yeah.
don't. There's nothing in the movie that calls for that, and again, I think certain songs just shouldn't be like used, and I don't know. That one is. I'm a fucking weirdo, I know, but like if you're gonna use that song, use it right. And I swear, I think since that movie, I have not seen someone try to use it. The only thing that ever did a decent job of it, but the only reason they got away with it is because it was before the song came out, was the OC. And they used it in a season 2 episode in order to promote that song and
what
the
song
album
was it?
coming out. It was Fix You.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they used it in, I think it was like one of the last episodes of season 2. Maybe it might have even been the second to last. And they used the first like 2 minutes of it. They didn't use the whole big breakdown.
Okay.
But it worked for the show. But also, again, this was like the first time anybody was hearing it.
Yeah.
And so
Megan and I just rewatched. Well, Megan rewatched all of the OC. I set in on season 2. That's still good. You should do an episode.
I watched.
I'll do it, but I didn't watch it when it was out, so I'm gonna need someone to pull.
The first season of that show is
So good.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
The second season is really good too. The third season is unwatchable. The
Yeah.
third season is so bad, and the fourth season has some good moments, but I don't know. But yeah, oh my god, the first season of that show is incredible. Like, forget it.
Let's get down to brass tacks here, though, because like both of you guys have done a really good job talking about every Coldplay album that isn't Parachute. So
it's true, and I think there's a reason for that. But Taylor, you tell us, I guess, like what was your experience listening to it now versus maybe what you heard when you were younger?
Well, it's funny that you said that it took you all to realize that they write love songs, because I feel like when I was listening to it recently, I was like, this is like a really romantic album. And that had never really struck me before, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what did you like about it, if not that? Carter.
We have a guest, Bear.
But Taylor says she picked up on it. You by your own admission said you didn't realize that Coldplay writes love songs.
Well, no, I know now. I'm saying I didn't until a few years ago.
That's what I'm meaning. So when you first heard Parachutes, allegedly you would have no understanding that they write love songs. So something
when I first heard Parachutes,
songs.
when I first heard Parachutes, it wasn't my favorite Coldplay album, and quite frankly, it still isn't, because I and that doesn't mean I don't like it. We'll get to that, but I really like their big, epic, grandiose, cinematic, just go for broke songwriting style and, music orchestration. And I think that, I don't know, I've said this for a while, and I said this when I first heard Fix You. I was really like, and I've always been a very emotional dude. My parents have always told me, "Oh, you've always felt things very deeply." And
Aw,
but it's who I am, and I feel like with Coldplay, I've never before felt like a band was writing songs exactly like for me. Like every time I heard them, I was like, "Yep, that's how I feel. Yep, that's how I feel." And I don't know, I just it just clicks, and I feel like with each album they've done, there's at least one song on there. Don't get me wrong, dude. They may be my favorite band, but I'm not a big fan of Milo Xyloto. I'm really not a big fan of that album.
What did you just say?
It's I think it was their fifth album. It was the one
It was
after
after
Viva La
Viva,
Vida.
yeah.
Yeah, which there were a couple songs.
That and then like was Ghost Stories next. I mean, I know that was like a
Yeah,
deeply
Ghost
personal
Stories was
album,
next.
but they went through like probably
Yeah,
a 7-year span where even I was like,
yeah.
have they
I
lost
thought
it?
I think Ghost Stories. I think Ghost Stories is a little underrated, but at the same time, I get what you're saying. I think there are definitely a lot of songs on there that I like, but there are also some that I'm like, I don't really know what this is.
Is it
Yeah.
about
Um,
ghosts?
no, it's a breakup album. It was when
It was
he and Gwyneth
Chris and
Paltrow
Gwyneth,
divorced. Yeah.
consciously uncoupled.
But then
Yeah.
the next album, A Head Full
Lower.
of Dreams, a lot of people were like, this is just some bullshit pop record, which I understand that criticism too, but that came to me at a time in my life when I really needed it because I was going through a really bad breakup. So it was interesting to like, when Ghost Stories came out, I wasn't going through anything, but I still like relatively enjoyed it. But you'd think that going through a breakup, you need an album like Ghost Stories. My thing was when A Head Full of Dreams came out, I was like, this is exactly what I need. I need to fucking feel better. I need to pick myself back up.
Yeah.
And that album came out like less than a year before I met Zoe, and that was Taylor and I. That was the second time we saw
I was gonna say
them,
yeah.
and they were unbelievable that
That's when
time.
you see like
It
the
was better.
stadium. Chris is just
Yeah.
like jumping up and down. There's like confetti. It's like that's like the production of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then like sometimes they'll go to like the B stage and play the old stuff, but that's like what they've now become versus you go to like Parachutes and it's so much more, it's big, but it's like intimate, right? Because they don't have
Mm-hmm.
that like big
Yeah.
kind of persona attached to them yet.
Yeah, but you're right. But I don't know what your favorite song on the album is, but I think mine might be the last one, Everything's Not Lost, because I think there are
That's mine
flashes.
too.
Really? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I think that encapsulates exactly what you said about the grandiosity and intimacy, and I think that song captures it perfectly. That there's a smallness to it and an intimacy to it, but at the same time, you can definitely get a sense of where they're going
Right.
and how big they might want to be. And then on their second record, Rush of Blood to the Head, there are a lot of songs that are big sing-alongs, like In My Place, The Scientist,
Mm-hmm.
fucking Clocks, Politic, the first song on Rush of Blood to the Head is huge. But with Parachutes, I think that, yeah, this might sound cheesy, but it's just really nice to listen to. And especially right now during this fucking state of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, again, everybody's different. I mean, just the other week I was listening to Killing in the Name of by Rage, and I love, that's one of the best songs. That's one of the best songs ever. And there are times when you need that, and then there are times when you need other things too, at least for me. And so yeah, Parachutes is just, I don't know. I agree with Taylor. I really like the intimacy of it. But there are elements of it that feel a little too small to me. But it wasn't boring. Again, it was nice to listen to. I also think Don't Panic is a really, really interesting song opener,
Mm-hmm.
or sorry, album opener. Excuse me. When I put that record in for the first time and that is what came out, I had never heard that song before, and I just did not expect that song. Because I had heard Yellow and I had heard Trouble and I'd heard Shiver, but then that is what opened it, and I was like, oh, whoa, this is interesting. This is really different.
Even Parachutes, the track, like for so long when I would listen to like the full thing all the way through, I thought that it was like a hidden track like attached to.
Yeah.
I can't think of what comes before it, but I would always have to look and be like, oh no, wait, this is a song. This is a song. Like it's just like so. I don't know what the word is, but like not in your face, like small.
As opposed to the rest of the songs, which are in your face.
Bear, tell us what it is about what because you don't seem like one of those people that loves to hate Coldplay. You seem like you genuinely are just not a fan.
I would say that is accurate, sir. I'll give you two good things. This album is only 42 minutes long, which is mercifully short, and Trouble's a good song. That is a good song. Yeah, no, that Trouble is an interesting compositionally, very very different from the rest of the album. Actually interesting. He's talking about spiders. Spiders are cool. And to me, that song makes
such a
sense
boy.
and is good. Yeah, well, I had Trouble on a mix CD of songs to put on when I'm trying to fall asleep. So it's not like I'm out there banging it. That's when I listen to it. It was on there with like The Space Between by Dave Matthews Band, who I also do not like. So it's that range of music. But I mean,
yeah.
Again, there's no way I'm going to listen to the rest of the Coldplay discography unless we do it for the show. So I'm not able to make these comparisons to these other songs, which are allegedly good.
Right.
But at least going off this album, it's a very good amalgamation of everything I hate about music. You've got soft rock, singer-songwriter vibes, which I hate. The associated glossy production values from that is somehow way too sparse. You've got an incredible, awful, and extremely liberal use of falsetto, which never makes sense, and singing in brogue, which I despise. And along with that, like I wrote down, is there a fucking drummer on this mix anywhere? So I read something that said, oh, this whatever the guy's name is does a great job drumming. I'm like,
Will Champion.
I'm throwing this shit through my giant old like speakers and turning it up, and I'm not hearing much in the way of rhythm. So my biggest problem with Coldplay in general is that this is essentially, at least this album, again, I don't care about the other ones, but this definitely reads as the Chris Martin singer-songwriter project. Almost everyone else is at best transparent, at least on this one. And when he's so front and center all the time, there's no choice but to focus on his singing and his lyrical content, which I've said, don't care for the singing style. Lyrics, nightmare, unless he's, chatting up, arachnids. But the thing, I listened to this album 3 times. I wanted to give it a fair shot. I suspected I was not going to like it.
Yeah.
I tried to listen to it a 4th time. I hate the song Spies so much. I fucking hate that song. Fuck that song. That song is awful.
What do you hate about it?
It is an unbelievably cloying and redundant chorus that is just such a fucking slog to listen to. I made it like the first 2 songs, like whatever, got to Spies, got so furious. I had to put on the new Lamb of God album just to flush my system for like an hour. It's like, just give me metal, just get this out of me. And I didn't revisit it after that. So generally speaking, that's how I felt about it. I think
generally speaking, okay.
At best they come off as boring Radiohead. And then at one point I wrote down, they remind me a lot of the band Travis. Travis sucks. So that's the kind of neighborhood we're in here, at least with me. So I don't know. I hate Yellow. I never want to hear that song again. Don't Panic is a fucking head scratcher for an opener. I know you thought it was interesting. To me, it's like, I got to listen to this guy whine about how it's a beautiful world. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I am going to roll my head up in the car window and just never get off the button until the blood squeezes out of my eyeballs. I cannot handle this level of like soft rock coffee shop shit. And it's interesting to me that you like them live. I I can't imagine what I do seeing them live. Like
You'd have a
sit
great fucking
down.
time. That's what you do. They're fantastic. They're amazing.
Well, there's no way to fuck this up. There's nothing there. It's not like, there's a ton of ancillary stuff going on that's not going to translate to the live experience. Like, I hope they can play these songs live. There's not much going on. But I did not enjoy this to an extent that even surprised me.
Wow, yeah. It sounds like it. Yeah, I mean, what's interesting, so when Taylor, you kind of you were going to say something when Bear said this feels like the Chris Martin singer-songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
You were going to say something when it was the Chris Martin singer-songwriter project.
Well,
I feel like you had a rebuttal, so what was it? Go ahead.
Well, my first thought was that it was their first album, and so I feel like it's
I understand that line of reasoning, but we're allegedly talking about this album. So I don't have the the additional context, and I'm not going to get it.
Right. No, that makes sense. So that's what I was thinking at first, but then afterwards, when I was re-listening to it today, actually, when Spies came on, I was like, that electric guitar, like I was loving it. I was like so into that being like the forefront of the song. And so I just think it's interesting that you think it's the Chris Martin show, I guess.
I can't, the only riff I can remember from listening to it is the Shiver riff. And even that one's like, all right, that's fine. I don't remember. I can't get past how annoying that chorus is on Spies. I have no idea what the guitar riff was.
Oh, the guitar riff on Spies is really good. I know it. I know. Yeah, it's like. It's really. I like that song a lot.
Ugh,
the only one
that one sucked my will to live directly out of me.
The only song on Parachutes that I was just like, nah, I'm good. I'd be good without it was We Never Change. That's the only one that I'm like, nah, you can take it off.
See, I don't even remember that. Like the stuff that's deeper in this album, it's like when you watch Saving Private Ryan for the first time. It's like you're so numb, you just can't even feel after that opening like scene. Like I was just so destroyed. Like I don't know.
Wow,
I
you're
feel
comparing it to Saving Private Ryan. That's definitely a compliment.
There you go.
Which I actually did just watch for the first time.
You just watched for the first time.
What'd you think?
Oh, incredible.
It's hilarious, right?
Oh, a knee slapper.
Yeah, just a riot.
Yeah.
No, I mean, imagine if someone's like, "Oh, we gotta save Ryan," right? Fucking idiots. No, no, that movie is incredible.
It features one of the best death scenes ever. From
who? There's so many.
Yeah, seriously.
Adam Goldberg has a scene that is.
Oh my god. You know what else? You know what scene I really love in that movie is Vin Diesel's death.
I like that one because it lets you know
when he falls on the piano, like it's so well orchestrated. And then he's just like, "Hey, wait, guys, like, give this to my dad," and it's like no one can help him.
And you're not sure how the movie's going to go at that point. Like you've been through the D-Day thing, like that's hardcore, but you just met the characters. You're like, all right, I like these guys, and then he gets axed quickly. Yeah. So from then on, it kind of sets a tone of like, oh, I might have to be watching a lot of these guys eat it, and then you do. It's a great movie.
Almost like, I don't know about almost all of them, but a lot of them.
Ed Burns lives, and Tom Sizemore tries as hard as he can, but he takes the L.
Yeah, Tom Sizemore always tries as hard as he can. But that's great that you just saw it for the first time. But wait, so my question, Bear, is like, and I'm sure you have a similar one, Taylor. It's like, obviously you didn't enjoy this album and everything. So do you think it's objectively bad, or are you just like, it's just not for me? Because I know we talk about the difference between that a lot on the show. Something being, hey, it's not for me, and this sucks. And I know you've said a lot of times that you're like, well, I'll say something sucks if I think it sucks.
I think this sucks. I mean, I think the coffee shop genre is not great. I mean, it's some of the least interesting music out there. I mean, in a way, I understand how they have such a broad appeal, To my listening of this, I mean, I know you say he writes a lot of love songs and he's gone through some breakups. Like that should be, as always, a good enough muse for any kind of art, especially songs. But there's no interesting tension in this at all that's driving towards any greater purpose. So you're not getting, like a difference in creative opinion here that's creating an album that's better than those disagreements like you would. Again, I'm just going to use like harder rock reference points here, but like an Angel Dust or a White Pony or something like that, that is, kind of born out of argument and guys pushing each other within their own kind of constraints. So to me, this
are those
is
metal bands?
That's Faith No More and the Deftones. You would,
Oh, you're saying songs. Okay.
I'm saying albums. So you even like,
albums. Yeah.
Even when like Van Halen was kind of at its best, when they were clearly disagreeing with David Lee Roth, that kind of tension is interesting and makes for good music. I don't like Fleetwood Mac, but everyone fucking Stevie Nicks definitely made for some great songs. Here it's just like some boring dudes who don't wear shoes. So I don't really get,
So you're saying they should have fucked each other?
I'm saying they could at least get some hand action like every once in a while. Because even the Beatles were jacking each other out all the time. And that's actually a good example because, John and Paul McCartney famously had different ideas for where that band was headed and where it needed to go. And I think that fuels great music.
And
whereas
Yoko
this
got in the way.
Yeah, well, we could debate about that, but
I actually have a quick story
about Yoko Ono.
Well, it's not about her directly, but my old roommate Oren, when he was at this was before he and I were actually friends, but when we were at Chapman, he said that he was witness to two other film students who were like also in a band get in a really big fight because one of them started dating someone and was like getting distracted by band practice or whatever, and they were screaming at each other, screaming, and the one who was single yelled to the guy with the girlfriend named Sasha. He goes, "Sasha is fucking Yoko." It's just so fucking
so dramatic.
Yeah, it was so dramatic. It was just
direct parallel.
It's so unnecessary. Anyway, continue.
But no, I don't feel like there's much to decipher here. I mean, I think the most interesting thing about this album is, as you said, Taylor, that the title track is this 45-second just skip over song. To me, that's kind of interesting, but I don't care. So I don't know. I don't like the coffee shop kind of adult contemporary stuff as much because it tends to be formulaic, down the middle. I think if you're going to do it, you'd have to really knock it out of the park. And I don't even have a good example off the top of my head because I find it so fucking boring. I don't care to look into it. So I think it is weird to me that this is their first album and they're a huge band. It is very weird to me that this wasn't just roundly ignored.
One and done.
Well, it's because
or that didn't at least they had the same trajectory as Travis. Like I said, Travis sucks, but they're a little more interesting than Coldplay was. So I don't know. I mean, they're in the wake of kind of Oasis reawakening everyone's desire to listen to British pop rock music, but there's nothing on here that's as good as even a shitty Oasis song. You get another band where tension between members created some memorable shit. So it's like so just down the middle and uninteresting. I feel like I'm almost getting performatively worked up about it because it's just like, who cares?
Your veins are popping out.
Taylor, you jump in with your response and then I'll give mine.
I don't hate that you like it. I'm glad that two of you like it. So it's not just me screaming. Yeah.
Well, he actually made me think of something that I don't know the answer to. Carter, do you know like their songwriting methodology? Like, does he just he doesn't just go write the lyrics, does he, with their music?
From what I know of it, it's actually a lot of, I think, him and Will, the drummer. and I think they do stuff separately,
Yeah.
and then come together and pitch things to each other and are like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Like, I know that there was, for that song Paradise, which, by the way, just on the record, just for the, you know, for the record, like, I've always thought was an overrated song.
That is out of a band where they made a lot of songs that I hate, that one stands out as being unbearably bad.
I don't like that song.
Holy
I never
shit,
have.
I hate that song.
That was when I knew that I wasn't gonna like Milo Xyloto. I was like, shit.
Me too.
Like,
That was the
Rihanna
exact moment.
No, Rihanna's on a different one. But the Paradise song, I think they were gonna give that to someone on the X Factor or something to like have as their song. But then I guess Chris liked it enough for them to be like, no, we should have this. So I know that they bring each other things that they come up with, whether it's riffs or lyrics or whatever. Again, that's the very little information that I know. But anyway, continue.
Oh, I mean, beyond, obviously, like, I get where you're coming from, Bear, with your, like, the way you feel about it, but I think maybe even going back to, like, what Carter was saying about how their songs, like, felt so personalized for him, like, I think for some people, that just, like, means so much more than compelling music, you know, it's, like, what they're hearing from it, and so, not compelling, but chaotic or, conflicting, you know, knowing the background of like how conflicting personalities come together to make a song or create a band. But I think when Carter brought that up earlier, it made me think like when I was 11 to like 14, I was just super into like pop, right? And then I think why I got so into them is because it was such a huge, what I thought was like a huge divergence from like boy band, Britney Spears, that kind of stuff. And for me, it was like a totally new genre where I felt like I was not indie necessarily, but so far away from pop that from like where my direction was, I think it felt so far away from like large spanning kind of like what they've come to now. Whereas for you, it almost feels like that's like where they land already for you. And you're all the way like to another side of like super interesting, way off mainstream kind of music. So it's just like interesting for me where that was they answered that for me, but for you they're kind of just like very boring and kind of mainstream. I don't think they're coffee shop music personally, but
yeah,
even as a whole, but this is a coffee shop album.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think they're coffee shop music, but I understand someone thinking this is a coffee shop album, like a rainy day in Portland and this playing at you know at Pip's Donuts or something. But I don't know. To echo Taylor, I feel like, you know, you summed it up really nicely there of like, I think they might've been the first band that I heard that were just very, very deeply, it felt to me like they were saying things that were really personal. And again, I heard them when I was 12 and I didn't know much about music then, definitely not as much as I know now. But then it's like, I don't know if we would have a band like Bleachers without Coldplay, and like I love Bleachers. They're one of my fucking new favorites, and like
Bleachers.
I love them
extremely
too.
personal.
Are any of their songs better than I Want to Get Better?
Yeah, actually, like
that song is atrocious.
I don't really even like that song, to be honest with you.
I hate that song.
Listen to
I'm not going to, but I just
want
to know that it gets better than that.
Reckless Love is so good.
Reckless Love's amazing. So is Wild Heart. So is Shadow. Like, so is Everybody Lost Somebody. I mean, they're great. But like, the point is that
Wake Me.
Yeah, Wake Me's so underrated. Yeah, but like, they were the first band that I had heard that really felt as if they were talking about things that were personal to them, that were also universal. And I hadn't heard that before at the time. And that always just stuck with me. And I think the bigger they got, but yet still made it about things that everybody goes through, that just really spoke to me. And I think another thing, and this, I don't know how related this is, but I don't even know if this is really a valid point, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. I grew up playing drums, and for the most part, I can play a lot of Coldplay songs on the drums. And that was cool too, to be like, it was like approachable in that way. Oh, I can do that.
Oh, you just take your drumsticks and you put them down, and then you've played all the songs on this album?
Yeah. I just pick them up and put them down.
Done.
Yeah, but no, like, like the drums in Fix You, or you know, the drums in Hurts Like Heaven, which are actually a lot faster. But like, you know, a lot of them I feel like I think I knew at that time, like, oh, I can learn this on the drums and I can actually do this. And maybe that made them even more desirable to listen to for me, because I could like listen and imagine myself playing or practicing or whatever. And again, I think just they were, you know, they just, and I think, frankly, a lot of their big fans feel the way I do about their music. I think that a lot of their big fans feel like they're talking to me, and I'm hearing it, and I get it. You know, I think that's what it is. Having said that, though, you know, I understand someone just, you know, I'm not surprised when people say they don't like Coldplay. I'm actually more surprised when people say they do like them. That's why Taylor and I have always had this connection and kinship, because the way that you talked about them, I was, you like them? Oh wait, no, you're one of them. Like here, yeah. It's like we're the men in, like, it's like we're the aliens that the Men in Black are watching. Like, oh, they like Coldplay. They like Coldplay. It's like there aren't many of us that really, even, you know, like I think I've seen them live like 8 times, which, Bear, I know you're going to probably throw up when you hear that.
How much could you gain out of seeing, I mean, any band, but this band 8 times? Like, I'll give you 2 to 3. Like, hey, maybe they changed the set list.
Yeah, I agree. 8 is a lot. But everybody has...
Some would say 8 is enough.
Nice. Everybody, I feel like, has their thing that they're like, no matter what, I'm gonna, you know, like I feel like my creative partner Khalil, my friend Khalil, is like, with Marvel movies, he's just like, I'm gonna go see them multiple times in theaters. I know I'm going to, like, whenever Coldplay comes to town, if I can get tickets, I'm gonna go, you know. And if they're like reasonably priced or whatever, you know, it's like, yeah, I know I'm gonna do that. Same with like Jurassic Park movies. Like, even if they suck, like, I'm gonna go see them at least once in theaters. You know, it's just everybody has their things, multiple things, and Coldplay is one of those things for me. And I think what's been really cool is that the first time I saw them was 15 years ago at Madison Square Garden, and
oh, jeez,
I know, and they actually played Everything's Not Lost. That was the only time I heard it live.
Nice.
But they ended with Fix You, and I remember I was obsessed with that song, and that was like all I wanted to hear. But one of the other cool things was that my dad and I have always connected on music, and you know, we butted heads for a long time. And then when I started listening to other things, he was glad that I was into like Zeppelin and The Who and everything. But he actually never liked Coldplay either. He was always like, yeah, they're very pedestrian or whatever. And then the album X and Y, which is like very spacey and whatever, my dad would listen to it and he would be like, this is just, he'd be like, this is just fat sound. There's nothing here. It's just fat sound. That's what he would always call it, fat sound.
Love it.
And so for my 21st, it was my 21st birthday, they were on a tour. They were, I think, still on the Viva la Vida tour, like the second leg of it or something. And so we went and saw them in Massachusetts. And I was telling him, like, you know, like, and again, he never liked them or whatever. He was never a fan, never into them. But I was telling him, like, you know, Dad, for my birthday, like, I'd really like to go to Coldplay. And he was like, all right, you know, we're going or whatever. And so we went, and he was really impressed. And so at times during the show, he would be like, you know, he'd be kind of watching, like, very, you know, observant and analyzing them a little bit, because he's a musician too. And then he would turn to me at certain points during the show very loudly and go, "This is very good." Like that. and I was like, sort of like, even to get his approval, I was like, yes, you know. Oh man, we're getting a view of Taylor's spot. This place looks great.
I know, sorry. It keeps cutting out.
No, that's okay. But there's a hot tub there too. Damn, it looks awesome.
Yeah, there's a hot tub.
But anyway, yeah, that's like, I think getting to see them with my dad was really memorable and cool. But also, the best concert I've ever seen was The Who with my dad around, I think that was my 18th birthday. And actually at Madison Square Garden as well. That was fucking awesome. So I think I can compartmentalize, like, fucking classic rock stars like Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend, and, like, know that, like, you know, they're different from guys like Chris Martin and Coldplay and everything. But I still love them. And again, they've always felt like they're just speaking directly to me. And I get that they're an easy target. I get that maybe they, you know, aren't the most, for lack of a better word, original, or necessarily challenging music. But I think that's what I like about them. I mean, we all need things that are constants in our lives. And it also feels like I've looked back on the last 15 years of my life or whatever, and I can remember certain things based on like when an album of theirs was out and like how it defined my life and what it meant to me at the time, you know. And like it always feels like an album comes out of theirs at like a really important time in my life, whether it's like a challenge I'm going through or just something. Like their last album, Everyday Life, came out a month before Zoe and I got married in Palm Springs. Like we were already married, but like it was almost like, oh wow, a gift for our wedding. This is fan. And they hadn't put out an album in like 4 fucking years. And like, it was great. And then the last time was when I was going through that terrible breakup and wanted to fucking die. And I was like, oh my God, a Coldplay album. Like this, maybe this will help, you know? And I don't know. It just feels like whether they all add up. And look, Milo Xyloto came out right after we graduated Chapman, and I was like, oh good, something to look forward to. And then I didn't like it. And I was like, oh man. Totally. But it doesn't matter. It just, I don't know. It's this weird, maybe that's a stupid cosmic thing, but yeah, that's where I'm at with it. And Parachutes for me is definitely still good because I think that it's a nice, what they've done with their albums, especially their most recent one, it's a nice almost full circle thing, because this one sounds like the most like Parachutes, but at the same time it has that epic feel that they haven't married like Parachutes with, you know, grandiosity probably ever. And that's what they did with this latest album. And I just thought it was really like interesting.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this, that like all the inspiration that they drew from other like cultures, and every song on the new album just feels like they kind of not reach their peak creatively necessarily, but they're kind of like, we are who we are, you know, we've like kind of achieved, I don't think he's pretending to be a rock star, but they've like achieved superstardom, right? And
but he is a rock star. I mean, he's fucking, that guy, Chris Martin performing is like, I wanted to be him in high school. Like, he was awesome to watch.
When we saw them last time, Carter was like, we were down on the floor, and it was at the new Levi Stadium.
Levi Stadium.
And so we had like a huge, probably like 12-foot like berth between us and the like where the stadium seats start. And Carter is just like literally so free, like dancing. He was living his very best life. It was so endearing. Like,
well, no, I thank you for saying that, but
I'm not making fun. Like literally, it was.
I know you're not.
I'm so glad that I experienced it with you.
No, I know you're not, and I think, and that was like we saw them like 2 months before I met Zoe, and like that was a time in my life again when I really felt like, you know, I had been through like a really shitty time, and you know, a combination of, I guess, taking better care of myself and, you know, therapy, and then that, you know, like it just helped. And I don't know, I was definitely dancing with reckless abandon for sure. I remember that, and just being nuts, but I don't know. I didn't give a fuck. And Zoe and I saw them again, same tour a year later at the Rose Bowl. And it was similar. I was just like going nuts, but it was cool. It was cool because it's like, then I had my favorite person with me, and she got to see me in that element, and we got to experience it together, and she had a great time too. And, you know, I don't know. It's just,
that makes me happy for you. But again, if I went to see Coldplay, I don't know how I wouldn't like bring my laptop and start working on a screenplay during the show. Like that's the vibe I get. Like, I'm not going to get there, but it makes you happy, and that's good enough. This music makes me furious. But
you should watch one of their live concerts. I mean, I feel like you'd be surprised.
Why would I ever do that?
Well, just to be like, oh, okay, they actually put on a show.
Yeah.
I guess.
One of their videos.
Like one video of one song at an epic, like.
Yeah, and just be like, oh wow, these guys are like a big fucking band, as opposed to like, I feel like you think that they're like a geriatric pleaser, like people are just going and like they're playing at retirement homes and people are sleeping.
No, I feel like they would play at like the Ugly Mug in Orange, and that's the correct venue. But again, look, I'm on parachutes. I have not experienced this alleged grandiosity of their later works.
Right,
This album,
that's true.
To me, seems like there's 3 too many people in the band, and it belongs in a coffee shop.
I know, and you know what? To that point, I wonder. It's impossible for us to know, Taylor, but I wonder what would happen if we hadn't heard it. Like what we would think of Parachutes if we didn't have the experience that we've had.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, I really want. I have a feeling we might be like, yeah, they're fine, they're pretty good.
It's good. I like Yellow.
But it's impossible for. First of all, we're talking about my favorite band personally, and then second of all, we're talking about like 15 years of just loving them and my history and
right.
And also I'm not one of those weirdos that I love my shit in terms of my art, like my bands, movies, whatever, but I also know that people go through things and they're trying their fucking best and they also have life to deal with and shit happens. And so it's like when they put out an album that maybe isn't as great as one of their other ones, I'm not like, oh, fuck them, man, they sold out. I'm just like, it happens, like those people. That's one thing I cannot stand is those fanboys who are like those people who are like, yeah, I like Kings of Leon, the old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
no,
fuck off.
The best thing about Kings of Leon is that the old stuff is also awful.
I actually agree with you. I don't like their old stuff. I like their new stuff.
I hate their new stuff, and I also hate their old stuff.
What are your favorite bands before we wrap
I've
up?
been dying to know.
Like top 3?
Sure.
Yeah.
Beastie Boys, Mr. Bungle, and Rolling Stones.
That's pretty good. That's a good list. I mean, I don't even know if I've ever heard of Mr. Bungle. Maybe I have.
They've got a new single out now called "Raping Your Mind," which you will hate.
Oh God.
Oh my God. But Beastie Boys and the Stones.
It's got the E. Yeah, it's got the E.
Taylor, careful. It's got the E.
Near it.
You won't go near it.
But
I'll ask Brett first. Yeah.
Angel Olsen just put out a new album and she's fucking great. So
okay.
She's floating around the top.
Have either of you seen the Stones live?
No, I don't have a desire to. I mean, it looks like if you look up during that show, you see the Lord our God actually doing the marionetting on those guys. And that frightens me. Yeah. How was it?
Exactly like you said. I mean, we don't know anything beyond them being old, but I've heard from my dad, he's like, I wouldn't want to go because it would just ruin it for me. But then Mick Jagger was taking his clothes off, throwing stuff into the crowd.
When did you see them?
Last summer when they were doing their tour.
Oh, okay. So it was recent. Yeah. Okay.
And then he just stripped down to a black turtleneck, and it was just oh.
Okay.
I
saw them.
Under there.
Yeah, I saw them in 2013, and they didn't do that. And it was a really cool show. I remember loving it. They sounded great, but there was no I feel like if I saw that, I would have been like, yeah, what's going on? But some people there would have been like, you still got it,
I can't imagine that seeing them now would be good. And at this point, they've put out a lot of music I've never even attempted to listen to. So I was on the spot a little bit. I probably should have put Ween at number 3. I'm a huge Ween fan. But I still like
roses. Roses are free.
Yeah, don't believe the florist when he tells you. Yeah,
they're a good band. They're a weird fucking band.
That
are
is
they
one of the
heavy metal?
Absolutely not. They play 70s music. Essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little psychedelic, but a little bit less I don't know. I feel like it's a little more focused than psychedelic in 70s.
My girlfriend would kill me for not saying Ween is in my top 3 because I've made her listen to a fucking shitload of Ween. But
if you like 70s stuff, Bear, have you ever listened to Tame Impala?
Ooh.
Yeah, but everyone tells me to listen to Tame Impala, and then I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I'm not
they're
really
good.
Feeling it.
You like them. I saw this meme recently that was Tame Impala fans in 2008 or something, and it was a bunch of hippies and guys with really long hair, and then it's Tame Impala fans in 2019, and it was a bunch of white moms drinking wine, and then it said what happened, which is kind of true. It's it did make a crossover, but they're great. You should, I don't know, check them out. That song Borderline is really catchy and great. But anyways, that's so I assume it's still good for you, Taylor.
Still good. Definitely.
Won't
I'm
ever
gonna
not
listen
be.
to it right now. Yeah.
I know. I think
Maybe
I've
I'll brew some coffee.
I think I'm gonna. Yeah, Taylor, I'll see you in Portland.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, I'll see you with the ugly mug, and then
Yeah. Oh God.
and Bear will be serving us lattes. That's why he said the ugly mug, because he's like, I gotta go to work there, and they always play this. And
I wasn't cool enough to work there. I was a corporate sellout with straight to Starbucks.
Oh boy.
Straight to Howard Schultz's nuts in my mouth.
I was a corporate sellout.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You worked at Starbucks and you're like, I sold out.
So yeah, immediately.
That's amazing. Well, this was great, Taylor. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
For coming on. We hope you had fun. Everyone, thanks for listening. You can find us at stillgoodshow.com, on Instagram at stillgoodshow. And you can also send us an email, stillgoodshow@gmail.com. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.